Listen, y'all. I know you can hear me. I'm go. I'm gonna let this play out a little bit because it's a message. I wouldn't come to you if I didn't have a message. For those who know me, for those who don't, I understand. To have the authority to kill a minority and to badge the gun to be beaten on and thrown in cell, we can go toe to toe in the middle of a cell with a little bit of gold in the pages, looking for the product, thinking every brother is selling narcotics. Check this out, y'all. Thinking every brother is selling narcotics. I'm coming to y'all today, man, just to say we want to extend our heartfelt prayers to the families of all the victims of police brutality, whether that be it come in the form of the murders, brutal murders that they commit on our people every single day, just since George Foreman's brutal murder, there has been almost 250 police beatings and killings since that time. Almost 250. So have conditions gotten better or have they gotten worse? And if so, what do we do? What do we do as a community to address the atrocities that's being perpetrated in our communities by those who are sworn to serve and protect our communities? What do we do? Because at this point, it can reasonably be said that they don't like us. I think we can come to that agreement that they don't like us. If it's anyone that has any disagreement with what I'm saying, please put it in the chat. We could talk about it. We could talk about it. But at the end of the day, if you just want to talk and not put into action some reform, then ain't no conversation for me and you to have. It's simple as that. So I'm all about reform. You know, I wanna I wanna see the system reformed in a way that it reflects the peace and prosperity of minority communities. I know that's kind of hard to imagine for some people who won't allow their brains to expand to the extent that they can believe and have faith that we are deserving of proper treatment. We are deserving of being treated like human beings. We're not deserving of being brutally murdered in the streets by those who were sworn to serve and protect us, where the grandmothers can't even go outside. Who the real thugs? The grandmothers can't even go outside because they scared that they're going to see something that their eyes should not see. They're going to be taken back and traumatized with the stories of the old lynchings of yesterday, realizing that these brutal murders is this present day form of lynching against our people in our communities by the people who are sworn to serve and protect us. No different than when that little brother in 1955 was said to have whistled at a Caucasian little girl. The boy was 15 years old. And what did that mob of men go and do? Law enforcement included. They went and kidnapped that little boy. And not only did they murder him, They brutally murdered him. They brutally murdered him. I mean, dehumanized him in the way that his mother said that he was so unrecognized that she had to leave the casket open because she wanted the world to see what they did to her baby. She wanted the world to see what they did to her baby. And so what I'm telling y'all today is that everything is being televised. You know, it was once said that the revolution will not be televised. It was once said that. But I am of the opinion that, I am of the opinion that the revolution has been being televised. We just have to open our eyes. Things are changing right before our eyes. The fear inflicted by the fear mongers is so great. They want to scare us so greatly that we scared to defend ourselves against them. And so when we get so full of that anger, so full of that fire, who do we burn? We burn ourselves. The brother Minister Louis Farrakhan once said that the white man has gotten us, sat us side by side with him and taken his racist brain, for those who are racist, taking his racist brain, his hateful brain, his disgusting brain, his despicable brain out of his own head and transplanted it in our head. And now we hate ourselves the way that he hate us. What are we doing? Tyree Nichols, just one of the latest atrocities televised for us to see. No different than in the slavery days, the blatant slavery days, when the masters would take the slave in front of the whole family, in front of the whole community, and he would take the slave and he would beat him so bad and with them whips that it would tear holes in his back for the people to see and understand and fear what the master can inflict upon them if they should disagree with the master. The master would take the brother up out the house and take it in front of his whole community, in front of his own children, in front of the children of the slave. And they would tie that child, that brother, one end of it to this horse and one end of it to that horse, and they would split the brother apart. Barbaric type stuff. So the family could see a man, their strength, their backbone, their pride, their father, their brother, split apart by two horses at the hands of the slave master. Televised it for the people to see. That slave master would kidnap a slave out of his household where he was sitting and eating with his family. And they would go into the community and call the people into the community to the railroad tracks. And they would tie that brother to the railroad tracks and let the train just come mash them all up. For the people can see. For the people can see. They were inflicting a trauma on the people that could not be told in words. That slave master would take this black woman from her husband and her children. And while in that same house, raped that woman in front of her husband and children, impregnate that woman, then kill that woman for getting pregnant by their rapist penis. That slave master will take that pregnant woman, string her up on a tree upside down, and take a long knife and just cut the baby out of her stomach and let the baby die and the woman bleed to death. Is that not what's going on out here today? They're forcing us to watch them kill us in the streets every single day, inflicting fear and trauma, memories of generations of trauma upon the people of minority communities. Because they think, as the slave once thought, that they were scared of the slave master. They're not going to do anything. Like the bully. The bully is going to do anything you let him do. To whatever extent you allow him to do it, he's going to do it. Until that one day. Until that one day. Until that one day. That little old David. Until little old David rise up. Stand up into that system of corruption. Not caring about the size of corruption. Not caring about who's behind the corruption. When that little old David stand up, the giant will fall. And that's why I'm talking to you today. We are David. We know what we up against. We know what we up against, but we have to stand up. We have to stand up. As one of my friends once said on his podcast, shout out to my brother, my friend, Thomas Freeman, at the Thomas Freeman Show, his podcast. He said, how many Tyre Nichols do you think there are that were not killed, but who are in jail because charges have been concocted against them? Because we heard on video what the officer said when they was killing Tyre. They were already concocting charges against him, saying that he did this and he did that, just to justify their behavior. So imagine how many living Tyre Nichols there are in the prison system throughout the United States who have been telling his story for far too long and no one would listen to him. Say, the police framed me, man. They did this, and that. They did that against me. They framed me. But yet they don't have the evidence to prove their innocence. And for that reason and that reason alone, they're still sitting in prison. Some of them with life bits, like I had. Some of them with long indeterminate sentences. Some of them who have passed on, never having a chance to prove their innocence. Some of my brothers and sisters were so deserving of a second look. But Goliath, recognizing the corruption that possesses him, and that he inflicts upon others, refused to have an ear to even hear what was blatantly obvious. So I don't want to hold my brothers and sisters up too long, because believe what I tell you, it's a lot on my heart right now. It's a lot on my heart right now. You have the sister. How about the sister that they just beat? She had some type of small disagreement at a McDonald's concerning her order. The police was called, even though the lady at McDonald's was rectifying the order and still got it wrong. The police was called. My sister Latika Hancock, all she did was trying to explain to the officers what was going on. You can look at the video. All she was doing is explaining to the officer what was going on. And one officer had something pointed in her face this close. And the other officer, the coward that he was, and so many of them are cowards, and I say that. So many of them are cowards because they hide behind the badge and the cuffs. But David wasn't scared of the badge or the cuffs. David looked at him and seen another human being. And David said, I refuse to allow you to inflict the fear in me that you have inflicted upon others. I stand up because I'm fortified by the impregnable doctrine of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice that was administered, created by a force that you cannot comprehend. God himself. We stand fortified by the impregnable doctrine that God has put together for us, the plan that he has put together for us. David, stand up. For those who know me, know I ain't just talking. For those who know me, know I'm not just talking. I've been there. I've been there. I suffered some of the worst abuse by police that you can imagine. And I still didn't surrender because I knew that David existed in me. I don't care how big they are. The bigger they are, the harder they fall. We have to stand up and fight against this system, this systemic racism, this system of corruption, this criminal justice system, the prosecutors that promote these officers and allow these officers to do what they do with impunity because they refuse to charge these officers. These officers need to go down and be sent to prison, sent to jail, or whatever they have to do, and be held guilty until they can prove their innocence like we are. We're placed in jail, and then we have to prove our innocence. It's not innocence until proven guilty. It's in the reverse. That's what needs to go on with them. They need to receive the most gravest of treatments, all the way up to the death penalty if necessary, until they can prove that they are deserving of a second chance. And then we can take a look back at them and say, have they changed their lives around? If so, they're deserving of a second chance because we're part of God, and God have mercy on us every day. So who are we not to have mercy on others? But at the inception of what's going on today, they deserve the harshest treatment possible. And that's what I advocate for, the harshest treatment against them possible. When an officer can be so abusive, so barbaric, so uncaring of even his own co-workers, that he see a man that is in a relationship with his ex-wife, and he can go to that man and provoke an incident. Maybe his co-workers didn't even know at the time. At least I would have to say at least one or two of them didn't even know what was going on. Didn't even know that Tyre was involved with this Demetrius, whatever his name is, his ex-wife. But the officer was so blatantly obvious and so blatantly barbaric and intentional with his behavior that when he had Tyre down, he took a picture of Tyre and sent it to the girl. After they beaten this man, he took a picture. That's premeditation. He took a picture of Tyre in his worst state after they started beating on him, sent it to the girl. And if you can see, he looked, all the phone and everything is obvious. He didn't hide anything. So, you talking premeditation. It's a lot to be said about those officers who was terminated just days later. You know, that's another subject of racism. Because not one white officer have been terminated just days after any incident. I don't care how obvious it was on video. The chief of police always defended them and say, we got to look at more video. We're not going to just do that and haphazardly just terminate anyone. And then when they do get suspended, it's suspended with pay. So that should tell you just how they think about us. They say, okay, the black officers are right here. They did the exact same thing as the white officers, but we're going to fire them right off the bat. No pay, no nothing, no suspension with pay, no suspension, pending investigation, no none of that. You're fired. And then the white officers who was on the scene, they still waited on those people. The public outcry had to bring attention to that part of the matter. So again, David, I'm calling upon y'all. David, let us stand up. Let us stand up in honor of so many brothers and sisters who lost their lives and who families who still mourn them, their deaths, and who every time one of these incidents happen, it's just like they're losing their child or their brother, their sister, their son, their father, their mother. They're losing them all over again. Let's pay homage to George Floyd's and the Mike Browns and the Freddie Grays and Trayvon Martins. Let's pay homage to Tamir Rice and Eric Garners and Philando Castile. Let's pay homage to Breonna Taylor and Sean Monterosa and Dante Wright. And let's pay homage to all of these brothers and sisters whom have lost their lives at the hands of the police. Let's pay homage to them. Let's pay homage to them by standing up and saying their name and saying that we're not going to tolerate the continued murder, mayhem, and trauma that's being inflicted upon our people. So listen, you know, I once heard this song that kind of summed up everything, and I'm sure y'all know this brother, but I'm gonna play the brother anyway. If you can hear it, if you can't, I apologize. But you know. Listen, y'all. It hurts. It hurts to see my brothers, my sisters being whipped, beaten, and battered, murdered right in front of my face. It hurts for me to see that because we've suffered for far too long, and the atrocities that we've faced are so monumental, so memorable, that no people should ever have to continue to go through such trials and tribulations. No people should ever be so dehumanized like we are. So before I close, I really want us to say a prayer for all of those brothers and sisters who lost their lives at the hands of corrupted police. And please understand why I'm saying corrupted police, because I am one who do not believe that all police are corrupt. So I separate and make a distinction between those police who work and do their job and those who are corrupted. Those who are corrupted are those who are committing these murders, these beatings, this brutality, this trauma, the robberies, setting guys up to be sent to prison. Some guys have spent 20, 30 years in prison already. I served 28 years in prison for a crime I don't even know anything about. But they stacked the cards so much against me that I couldn't prove my innocence, because they had so many people that they tricked into saying it was me. So I understand. I am, and I want you to say this as well. I am Tyre Nichols. I am a victim of police brutality, police harassment, systemic racism. I am a victim. But I refuse to continue to be victimized. Peace and love to those within the sound of my voice, and for those who cannot hear the sound of my voice, I say, pass along the message, because someone needs to be inspired.